Welcome, fellow seekers of truth. Today, we embark on an extraordinary journey into the heart of reality, where cutting-edge quantum physics meets ancient Buddhist wisdom. Together, we'll explore how both perspectives reveal a universe that is far less solid and independent than it first appears. Let's begin with a concept central to Buddhist philosophy: emptiness, or Śūnyatā. In Buddhism, emptiness isn't about nothingness. Rather, it refers to the idea that everything we experience arises from a vast open field of infinite potential. Imagine a blank piece of paper, silent, empty, yet ready to become any story, any image, any expression of possibility. This paper is not void. It is full of potential waiting to be manifested. In a striking parallel, quantum physics introduces us to the concept of the quantum field, an invisible and all-pervasive energy field that serves as the foundation of all matter and particles in the universe. Here, every particle, every atom, isn't an isolated object, but an excitation, a ripple, in an all-pervasive field. This field represents pure potential, a canvas on which the entire universe is painted. Now consider one of the most famous experiments in physics, the double slit experiment. In this experiment, when particles such as electrons are fired at a barrier with two slits, they create an interference pattern, much like waves in water when not observed. Yet when we observe which slit they pass through, they behave like distinct particles, localizing in space and time. This duality, particle and wave, challenges our conventional ideas of what matter really is. It suggests that before we observe, before we measure, matter exists in a state of infinite possibility, much like the endless potential on our blank canvas of emptiness. The observer effect and the role of consciousness. But why does the act of observation change the behavior of particles? Here lies one of the most profound insights bridging science and spirituality. In quantum mechanics, the observer effect tells us that our very act of measurement influences the outcome. The renowned physicist Werner Heisenberg once said, "What we observe is not nature in itself, but nature as it is affected by our observing minds." This brings us to the idea that our consciousness is not a mere bystander. Instead, it plays an active role in shaping reality. Much like a dream where every vivid detail is created by your mind, our reality is continuously co-created by the interplay of observation and possibility. While this comparison is often used metaphorically, some interpretations of quantum physics suggest that consciousness plays a fundamental role in shaping observed reality. Interconnectedness through quantum entanglement and dependent origination. Let's now turn to quantum entanglement, a phenomenon that has further blurred the lines between separation and unity. When particles become entangled, they develop a connection so profound that a change in one instantaneously affects its partner, regardless of the distance separating them. Imagine two friends holding basketballs. If one basketball were to change color, the other would reflect that change immediately, no matter how far apart they are. However, unlike classical correlation where two objects share common properties from the start, quantum entanglement suggests an instantaneous connection that defies classical physics. hinting at a deeper layer of reality beyond space and time. This mysterious link mirrors the Buddhist principle of dependent origination, which teaches that nothing exists in isolation. Every event, every object, is interdependent, arising and ceasing in relation to everything else. Both quantum entanglement and dependent origination invite us to see the universe as a single, interconnected whole, rather than as a collection of isolated entities. The illusion of solidity and the nature of matter. Yet, despite the underlying fluidity and interconnectedness, our everyday experience is one of solidity. We feel in touch what seems to be a solid world. But quantum physics teaches us that atoms are mostly empty space. The solidity we experience is an illusion, a result of electromagnetic forces pushing atoms apart, much like magnets repelling one another. Thus, the solid objects we rely on are not the unchangeable permanent substances we once believed them to be. Quantum mechanics demonstrates this through principles like quantum tunneling, where particles pass through barriers they classically shouldn't, and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which reveals that the exact position and momentum of a particle can never be simultaneously known. These discoveries challenge the classical notion of solidity and permanence, reinforcing the idea that matter is fundamentally fluid and probabilistic. They are temporary patterns, ephemeral forms emerging from the boundless quantum field, much as diverse phenomena arise from the emptiness described in Buddhism. The unified message: reality is dynamic, interconnected, and co-created. In conclusion, both quantum physics and Buddhist philosophy guide us to a radical rethinking of reality. Instead of a universe composed of fixed, independent objects, we find a dynamic interplay of infinite potential, a continuous unfolding of possibilities influenced by observation and interconnection. Whether it's the quantum field from which particles emerge, or the Buddhist notion of emptiness as the fertile ground of existence, both perspectives invite us to see the world as co-created by our minds. They challenge us to look beyond the surface, to recognize that the fabric of reality is woven with threads of energy, potential, and profound interconnectedness. As we reflect on these ideas, ask yourself, what if the reality you see is just one layer of a much deeper, interconnected tapestry? What if, by shifting your perception, you could begin to perceive the world not as a collection of isolated parts, but as a unified, dynamic whole? Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the nature of reality. What are your thoughts on these concepts? Have you ever had an experience that made you question the nature of reality? Share your insights in the comments below. If this exploration has sparked your curiosity or inspired you to question the very fabric of existence, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.